Hey everyone, Josh here with Fresh Start Customs, and today we got another set of smart blinds that we're going to be installing on this back patio. It's going to be consisting of 3 different blinds. As you can see, these are damaged here. So we're going to be going from these older blinds to these blinds here. Alright you guys, so now that we got the blinds installed, take a look at this. This is what they look like here, all closed up. We have our smart dial remote like we did in our previous video. These blinds have all sorts of features, and that's what today's video is going to be based on. We're going to quickly talk about the installation process because these are so easy to install. You've probably seen our previous video of the installation process, which I'll put up over here really quick so you can see that. And I'm going to show you what I did with these because these were even easier to install because I didn't need the secondary bracket. So what I mean by the secondary bracket, there's a secondary bracket you can put up here to make them float out a little bit more from the window, but the original bracket went right into the window itself. So I'm going to put these up. It might get kind of bright in here, and you may not see me because of the brightness here. But as this moves up, it's going to go right back into the unit, and then I'll show you the solar panels that are involved with this too. So right now I don't have to plug anything in, but if you did plug something in, it has a 6-month battery life span in that as well. As you can see, these two are going up at the same speed. This one goes up faster than these two here, so I need to redo that one here in a little bit, but you do have the option to reprogram the speeds, which we're going to get into here. Now, as you can see, right under here is the solar panel, so hopefully you can see that from the camera angle that's currently on there. But the solar panel just sticks on there with 2 little stickers on the back side. And then it mounts right to this with a little cable here. So I'm going to unplug this cable really quick. As you can see right here is all that the solar panel plugs into. And then to mount this, it's literally just a push back and then it pops right off. So I can move this whole thing off of here if I ever need to. And then I can just push it back on into place. And it clicks into place, and you can move it side to side to align it right where you need it. So right there is good. And then we'll plug this back in right here. So you got to make sure you line it up and then plug it back into the unit right here, and it's good to go. I'll go ahead and hide that wire later after we're done talking here on camera, but that's literally how easy it is. If you've seen when I pulled this off, it was literally just 2 L brackets that are locked into place, push lock into place. It is the easiest thing you'll ever install. All of these come pre-cut in a custom cut. So all you got to do is measure your windows. So I measured from this line here to this line right here. And then I did an extra inch on both sides because there is like a half inch cut off on both sides there. And it worked out perfect. I couldn't have actually measured it any better. But if you do need to go higher or lower, so like if you don't like it dropping to this section here, that smart remote, you can actually click the key combination that comes in the remote control guide with it, and then you can program this to go higher. I think it's these 2 buttons together with pairing. It'll jog once, and then you'll click up, and then it'll jog again, click up, jog again, and it will actually raise higher. I could be thinking for the speed increase too, but we're going to get to that here in just a second. The other option is if it goes down to the bottom and it doesn't quite hit the bottom, you can extend that down further to the bottom as well. But this came exactly to my measurements, so I didn't have to do anything here. Everything was completely set up exactly how I need it, except for this one motor over here is a little bit fast. As you've seen, when it goes up and down, this one's going a little bit fast, so I need to slow that one down or speed these 2 up. I'm probably going to slow that one down because these 2 are already matching. Another cool feature that you have is you have the little the dial here. So you can spin this dial and it'll go to whatever height that dial is set at. I just stopped it right there, but you can stop it at any time frame as well. The one issue that I have with these blinds is sometimes they register at a different rate here. So they don't all go down at the exact same time some of the times. And then some of the times they'll all go at the exact same time up. So like right now when I push the button, they're working correctly, but this one's motor is a little bit faster than these, so it's catching up there and as well. So that's the only issue that I've had, is some of them just don't register on the first click, which isn't really a big issue unless you care about the aesthetics of them both going down or all three going down at the exact same time here. So I'd say probably every like 6 to 8 out of 10 times it works, but sometimes they don't register. See, like I click down, this one didn't register here, but if I click down again, it'll register. Now you do have the option to go with individual ones too, so you have different channels. So what I mean by that is if I go to channel 1, I can click this one and it'll just do that one by itself. So I'm going to stop that one right there. We can go to channel 2. I can click this one. It'll do this one by itself. And then I can wait to stop it where I want. If I want it to stop right there, I click stop. We can go to channel 3 and do the same thing with this one right here. So you can do multiple channels. You can run it anywhere you want it to run at. And then if you go to channel 0, so if you just push the channel button on the right-hand side, until you go all the way to channel 0, that's how I control all three at once, where I can just push the up button. And like I said, the only issue that I have with it is sometimes they don't register right away. You have to click that up button twice. But other than that, it has been great. I don't know if that's just a kink that needs to be worked out or what, but overall, I am highly impressed with these things. The fact that I'm never going to have to plug these in for battery life is a huge benefit here. We're going to go ahead and get a zoom in on this smart remote and talk about features here. But talking about features, let me grab my phone here really quick. All right, you guys, so now that I got my phone here, I'm going to go ahead and do a screen recording really quick of the Apple Home application here. So what we're going to do is, now that we're in the Apple Home application, hopefully you guys can see this on the screen, but I have all three curtains set up. So I have them named curtain 1, curtain 2, curtain 3. So I can set up each of these individually, where I just push the button and it will close each one individually here. So as you can see here, it takes a second for it to register. Let me go ahead and click close again. There it goes. So we have that one, and then we have curtain 2 here, and we have curtain 3, and it's going to take a second for them all to register through Wi-Fi. It just takes a moment to connect to Wi-Fi and then send it back to the blinds here. But as you can see, all three of them going right now. You also have the option to group these together, but the problem is if you group them together in the home kit, then it won't let you do them individually. It'll do them as one unit there. There may be a different way to do that than what I'm aware of, but whenever I group them all together, it'll put it as one entire unit that'll open all three or close all three at once. And then the only way to do them individually is to separate them. So I'm not going to do that, but the other option you have is if you click on the actual curtain, so we'll say curtain 1 in the HomeKit application, it'll show you a slider. You can actually slide that about halfway up, and then it'll take a second for it to register to Wi-Fi again, and then it'll push through once it bounces back from your Wi-Fi router to go about halfway here. So when it goes all the way up about halfway, that is how you can control it with your little smartphone here. So overall, that is a super cool feature as well. So with that said, let me go ahead and close this one again, and we're going to go back to the smart remote here and get a closer look at what that smart remote can do. All right, you guys, so as you can see, here's the smart remote. You can see it flashing on 0, but it's not actually flashing in real life. That is just the camera shutter speed that's showing that. But channel 0 controls all three blinds here. And the other thing that you can do with this is you can actually program each blind to do like a favorite position. So if you push and hold stop for 2 seconds here, it will move all three blinds up to my favorite position, which is a little bit over halfway up here. So you'll see this go up a little bit over halfway. As you can notice, the left side here is still faster than the others. I haven't programmed this remote to go faster than that yet. But as you can see, they all leveled out on my smart favorite position here. And then the channel button, like I showed you earlier, is on the right-hand side here. So if I push that, that's channel 1. And you can actually control just the left blind over here with channel 1. So the same thing with like channel 2. I'm going to just stop that so we don't have to watch it go down. We can push the right button again. Here's channel 2. And then we can push channel 2 there, and that will control the middle remote here. The same thing goes with the actual spin dial here. So the spin dial you can set at whatever increment you want. So let's say we go about halfway up or halfway down. That'll be right about there. It's going to stop probably right up here, I'm guessing. So we'll see which area it stops at. There you go. So you can control it with the dial. You can control up and down. So the regular down is all the way down and the regular up is all the way up. So if you go up, it'll go back up there. Hopefully you can see this on camera. I'm trying to get as good of an angle as possible without the light reflecting this here. And then it's got this little magnetic base at the bottom. This can set right on a countertop, or there's an option to pull this off. So you can actually pull this off like this, and you can mount it straight to a wall with the back here. It does charge by USB-C on the back as well. And then it just clicks into place on this little magnetic base here if you want it on the table like we're going to use it for. With that said, now we can program this first one. So let's go back to channel 0 here. And then we're going to put all 3 down. And then we'll move back up to channel 1 by itself because that's the one that we're going to program. We're going to wait for these 3 to shut here. And then we're going to open channel 1 and then we're going to do the programming of the speed here. Okay, so we're on channel 1 now. So I'm going to go back up with the left side. We're going to wait for that to go all the way up and then I'll show you how to do the programming of the speed of this motor here. We need to go a little bit slower, so we may need to do this a few times depending on how fast it is compared to the other motors here. So it looks like the speed is the pairing combination. So these 2 buttons at the same time, you click it like that, it'll jog once, and then you click the down button, it'll jog again, and down again, and it's going to jog 2 or 3 times there, and that should have decreased the speed here. So now we'll go ahead and put the blind all the way back down, and we're going to try and compare it to all 3 motors again and see what it does here, if that matches the motors, or if it's still too fast, then we're going to have to recreate and redo that speed again. All right, you guys, so we're back on channel 0. We're going to see all 3 at once again. And it looks like we now have matching speeds here. So they're all going at the exact same rate. We have successfully programmed this blind here on the left that was too fast before to match the other ones. And we now have our perfect cohesive experience here where they will go anywhere that I want them to go. So right here is about my favorite position. And then we can go back down or up, whichever way we want with that. And they should all stay in sync at the exact same speed now. All right, guys, so there you have it. That is the SmartWings smart blind system that can be controlled with either the smart remote here or the regular remote that comes with it basic. You have your smartphone that can control it. And then I also forgot to mention that you can control this with a smart hub, such as like an Apple TV, a Google HomePod, the HomePod Mini, etc. Whatever kind of home smart system you have, they have different motors for that. I think they have 6 different types of motors that you can choose from. So you have all sorts of options for this smart home system here. You can even set it up on like scheduling with like shortcuts and all that stuff as well. That's a little bit more advanced that I'm not into. I'm going to be just using it from my phone with those buttons whenever I need them or I'm away from home, so I can set these up or down whenever I'm away from the house. Other than that, if you guys have questions on this, let me know. Make sure you tuck in your cords here so it can be hidden. But other than that, if you have any other questions, let me know. And it's been great to talk with you as always. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.